Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another video from Africa. But I'm not in Botswana actually, because today I'm over in Namibia and I'm staying on the Pangolin Houseboat. The reason for that is because we're travelling up the Chobe a little bit so that we can take some boat safaris out onto the river to hopefully give us some chances to get some different pictures. But damn, this place is so cool. So for a start, the view all around is absolutely amazing, and as I walk through you'll see the whole place is awesome. Everywhere has so many big windows, so as we sat down having brunch or lunch or dinner, we're spotting loads of wildlife. Spotted a kingfisher earlier. We got a lovely deck upstairs as you go outside. Like, look at this. Look at that view. It is absolutely gorgeous. And this is where I'm going to be staying for 2 nights to give me a couple of cruises. Going on a cruise tonight, cruise tomorrow morning, and then cruise the next evening. And hopefully can give us some perfect chances to get some good wildlife images. But anyway, let's head down because I'm going to show you my room. Because even though we're on a pretty, it's a medium-sized boat with a few of us, the rooms are just lovely. Got everything you could possibly need. I've got a lovely double and I'm right next to the boat. So in the morning when it's like 6 AM and we're about to jump on the boat to go out and find some wildlife, I literally have to walk straight out of my door and then I'm ready to go. That is just perfect. You'll see behind me the boat is here that we'll be going on, but I am number 4 right here and I've got my key in my pocket. Now inside, of course, I've got everything I need. I've got a massive double bed that is extremely comfortable, a little desk that I've already got my stuff set up on, of course, and then places for my bags and my own bathroom as well. That's really quite nice. But now it's literally like 3 o'clock. I'm going to get ready, grab my gear, because we're going to go straight out on the boat and hopefully find some wildlife, because we've got a little while till the sun gets down, but I'm going to show you how the boat works, how that all set up, and why it's really quite cool for wildlife photography. So this afternoon we're off of the Pangolin Houseboat and we're onto the smaller Pangolin Safari boat that we'll be using for hopefully our animal safari this afternoon. We're on the water, a good chance to get animals coming down to drink and everything like that, and hopefully some chances for some unique pictures. And the boat is specifically set up for photographers, and so I'm going to talk to you all about that right now, about how this thing is perfect for anyone wanting to get pictures of wildlife. So one of the first things you'll notice about the Pangolin Safari boat are the chairs, and unlike on lots of safari boats where you've got rows of chairs, you just have a single column of chairs right down the middle and each one independently spins. That's just fantastic for a wildlife photographer, because if you've got a sighting on the right or a sighting on the left, I can easily change position and I don't have anyone in front of me on either side getting in the way of the pictures that I want to take. That's excellent. I also have this really nice gimbal mount here ready for me to use. It's multi-axis, so when I undo it, I can actually swing it around as I'm moving to keep up with my position. And as great photographic gear, it's Arca Swiss mounted, so I can just grab my camera out and with no problem whatsoever just mount the camera up there. Got the 302.8 on the D850, and I'm ready to go. That means we can go on, find some wildlife and get shooting. Now, anyone who knows me as a photographer knows that one thing I love to do is get low for my pictures. If you want those really nice out of focus backgrounds and foregrounds, there's nothing like being completely eye level with your subject to help you do it. And on certain boats and stuff where the sides are high, it's really difficult to get those pictures. But here I've got a nice low side, so not only can I get nice and low for those kind of along the shoreline pictures, they've also thought about that as well, so I don't smack my lens on this really solid piece of metal. I've got nice flip up little padding that I can rest my lens on to make sure I can get a low angle in a really simple way. They're slightly padded as well, so I can push down on them just like you would with a beanbag to get a really solid support. And this is just fantastic. If I've got some elephants coming in on the side or anything like that where I want to get that low angle picture along the shoreline, this is going to be ideal. And I know that for me, even though this is low, I'll still be hanging out of the side of the boat to try and get some even lower shots when the sightings are right. But now that we've amassed some time and the light's starting to get good, it's time to get cracking and see if we can find some wildlife to shoot. So we've literally been in the boat for basically 10 minutes, and after I did a little piece about how the boat's all set up, We've just started moving down-river, and already we've got some wildlife, a lovely little herd of elephants up on the side. These guys have come down for a drink. You know, it's super hot at the moment, it's super dry. So we're going to move in really slowly and see if we can get a few shots. I'm already in my low position that I knew I would be in to see if we can get some images. I've got 2 cameras kitted up. As you guys know, the thing is with wildlife photography, you can have a sighting and you've got to work quickly. If you've got your long lens on and then you're looking to swap to a wide angle, that moment where you've got to take camera off, put a new lens on, you just miss the shot. So having a second one set up and ready to go is really important for this type of work. And you know, especially when you're traveling as well, you always want 2 cameras. I've actually got 3 with me, of course, because I've got the Z6 as well that's filming me. And that just means that I can have flexibility to get lots of different images. And as the day goes on and I want extra lenses as well, I'll probably stop filming myself with the Z6, put the 70 to 200 on, so I've got a really flexible range for shooting out of the side of the boat. But my 300 mainly going to be for my portrait stuff, and then my 35mm is just great for those more landscape approach images. And with elephants especially, you know, really quite big, so we don't have to get too close to get some nice kind of frame filling, landscape orientation style pictures for some really nice environmental portraits. So let's see what we get. You can see they've already got wet legs where they've been in the water for a little drink, and God, they are stunning creatures, aren't they? They're absolutely gorgeous. As it's early afternoon at the moment, the light is really high in the sky. It's pretty harsh. You know, the thing with Africa is you've got these really beautiful evenings where the light is just perfect, but in the middle of the day it can be really difficult to get shots. And that's why when you're working on pictures throughout the day, this is a really good time to go for those detail shots. If we're getting close enough, what I'll look to do is just get the patterns on the elephant. You know, the way that the ears lay over the body and stuff like that, and just all that detail that you get from their skin can make nice images in the daytime. You know, the sort of more portrait shots and stuff like that, I'll wait for the evening for those. But right now, it's not only just great to be able to be so close to such awesome wildlife, but it's really good time to build a portfolio and start getting those little images that can work with those kind of more standard portrait and landscape pictures as well. Oh, look at these guys, these are just great. Let's get a wide shot first. Now I'm just going to go in close and try and get some detail shots now. In terms of the lighting, because it is so bright, I'm all the way down to like ISO 100, going to f8 to give me a nice depth of field, and then with the 300 I can literally pick out the details on their backs for some really nice shots, and even go for those eye pictures as well. Those guys are just absolutely amazing. I cannot believe that anyone would want to kill one of those. But as the light's not too good, we're going to carry on down, leave these guys for a drink and see what else we can find. Because there's a few little locations that we've spotted that might be really good for as the light starts to dip. So we're going to head down there and see what we can find. So after making our way downstream from the elephant, we've seen a boatload of birds en route, some blacksmiths, some yellow-billed storks, and also a load of kingfishers that I absolutely love. We've had the brown-hooded kingfisher, we've had the pied kingfisher, and also the great kingfisher that was fantastic. Just up on the sides in the little bushes, and you know, sat on my seat, I can just switch between sides and get pictures, and we've been kind of zigzagging our way down the river side to side to get some shots. And it just is awesome to see them just so comfortably next to the river. You know, it just is brilliant. But anyway, I better get some shots because this one's probably going to go. One of the subjects I really have just enjoyed watching on this trip are vervet monkeys. Probably a lot of people never take pictures of them because you see them at like picnic sites and stuff like that when you're on the Land Cruiser, but I really quite like them. They're really you know, charismatic animals. And whilst when I was at the picnic site, you know, they would come in close, I could get some 35mm and 20mm wide shots. Even managed to use my flash for some nice kind of, you know, darker background, lit foreground. But now with them further off in the trees, it's a chance to get something a little different. So what I'm actually doing is, I'm hand holding my 300mm and I'm making a panoramic image. It's not something that a lot of wildlife photographers tend to do, but I just think it gives a bit more space for your wildlife, and you know, those tight pictures all the time aren't really what I'm after. So what I do is I find an animal, you know, nice composition, maybe looking outwards into the frame, and then I take a second shot next to it, so I can stitch them together in post and make a long form picture. Now when you're doing this, you've got to make sure that you have a piece of foliage, maybe a twig or a branch that connects the two, because otherwise it won't stitch very well. And you've also got to do them relatively quickly, because if the foliage is moving too fast or anything like that, they're not going to stitch properly in post. But with the monkeys out in front of me, what I can do is just pick a shot, pick a second one, and then stitch them together. And I think for this trip in general, for Africa, I think this is something I'm going to really enjoy doing, because, you know, it's an expansive landscape. It's something where you've got a lot of space. You've got animals connecting with other animals in their environment. So actually picking an animal and adding some extra space to it is going to make a really kind of interesting and unique set of pictures that I think be quite different. And for me, different is key when it comes to wildlife photography. So I'm going to keep shooting this, and hopefully they'll come out rather nice, because the light is slowly starting to get a little bit better. We'll probably spend about half hour here doing this, and then we're going to head down because there's a little bay where hopefully we will spend the rest of the evening for the elephant and, fingers crossed, my favourites, baboons, to get a few shots. But right, let's keep on with this. So for our kind of last spot this afternoon, we've come down to a bay where we're going to just basically wait until the light gets good. It's an area where we know that elephants come down, baboons and stuff like that, and it's going to give us some options for some different pictures. As the light sets behind me, I'm going to get really harsh light to start with, you know, really nice side light. That's going to be perfect for a couple of like really nice portraits and images like that. And then also, because we can position the boat to this side, I can shoot straight into the light. That's going to give me the chance for two different techniques in photography. The first one of rim light and the second for silhouette shots. And although they're both similar, they're kind of different in the way that you have to approach them. I thought I'd just give you a quick rundown of how I'm going to do that. Now when it comes to rim lighting, firstly your subject's quite important. You want a subject that's got fur, because if it doesn't have fur, it's not really going to pick up that rim very well. It's not going to give you that fire around the outside that you really want. So, you know, subjects with fur work a lot better. And in terms of the way that you meter for it, what you're trying to do is plunge the scene into darkness, but keep those highlights as high as possible. And the way that you're going to meter, personally, I use the highlight priority metering on my Nikon D850, 500, D5, whatever it is, because it means I can set that to meter the highlights perfectly, and then literally the rest will just drop off into shadow. But I know that some cameras don't have that, so another option that you can use is to use spot metering. You basically spot meter onto the edge of the subject where the bright highlights are, and then basically set your metering for that, plunge it into darkness, and what you're going to find is if you work to find yourself with a dark background, the subject will be illuminated. You'll just get the outside rim lit perfectly, and you'll get these really cool contrasty pictures that are really quite nice. I think they just have a great sense to them, and they really bring some character into the image. Now, other than that, the other technique you can use is silhouette, of course, and a silhouette in a way is a little bit easier, because all you've got to do is find a bright background, your subject in front of it, and then just underexpose. You know, you want to meter so your highlights are as bright as possible, but basically you need to underexpose so you drop the subject into darkness. But the hardest thing about silhouette is not really the exposure in the way that it is for rim lighting, but it's more about the subject's position. Whereas rim lighting, you've got to find it so it's all lit around the outside. Silhouette only really works if your subject is, well, it looks like your subject but as a silhouette. And that might sound a bit stupid, but you know, if you've got an elephant and two of its front legs are over each other, so they kind of look blended together, it doesn't really work as a silhouette. If you've got a baboon and two of its hands are together and its tail's the wrong way, again, it doesn't work. You've got to find your subject looking almost perfect as your subject, and with a bright background, and also be on its level to make sure that you can get nice separation between the legs and stuff like that to give you a really good silhouette. And so in order to do those sort of shots, as much as, yes, the lighting conditions and everything that are important, it's all about planning and making sure you're in the sort of landscape where you're going to be able to get those images. And tonight we're going to be able to position the boat a little bit further along, shoot along this beach, shoot along this kind of edge here, and hopefully as the sun goes down over there, I can really get some nice images. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to call it a day in the filming of me. We're going to cut into some probably voiceover of the shots that I'll be taking this evening, because I need to get cracking, get some pictures, because, you know, as much as I love making these videos for everyone, for me it's all about the pictures, so we need to get shooting. As the sun dropped low above the horizon, the light was fantastic for photography. Joined by a whole troop of baboons as well as a lovely herd of elephants, we had some great opportunities to make some pictures. The elephants milled around in the water taking a drink, giving me a chance for portrait shots of close-in animals as well as those wider panoramic images that I was after. The baboons would walk around in front of the boat, give me some great chances for some close-in headshots, as well as some off-in-the-distant images, silhouetting them against the light in the background, as well as giving me some rimlet shots for a really nice portfolio of images. Man, that was one heck of an afternoon. After I stopped filming and we settled into the bay, it was just incredible. The light started to get low. We were joined by a whole herd of elephants as well as a massive troop of baboons that just came in, and they sat in the perfect places. So the baboons sat like literally under the light, meaning I could get silhouette shots and rimlet shots, and then the elephants came down, were in the water milling around, meaning I could get some nice kind of simple shots with that lovely red light over the shoulder that was absolutely perfect. Even tried a few panoramics as well. I got probably one of my favourite shots with a warthog that came down, came right close to the water just as the sun was really low. The reflection was great, gave it a bit of fill light and everything like that. That was just awesome. And then we also had the impala as well that came down and did the same. For that I did a panoramic shot again. Simple reason to give a bit of space. I love the way they look at the water, and I think the panoramic just gives that extra bit of space to show that kind of area that they're looking into. And I think whilst I'm in Africa, the panoramic is going to be a big feature. You're going to see a lot more of them. But what an incredible afternoon and evening. The light was amazing, the animals were amazing, and now I'm going to go edit some pictures, show you guys. That's pretty much it for this video. If you want to see more, you want to see the next episode when I'll be back in Botswana, be sure to, you know, like and subscribe below, join the channel. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below, and as you know guys, get out, get shooting and enjoy your wildlife photography. So I'll see you in the next one.